Please give it up for an entrepreneur from Mutt Sauce, a great American, Charlynda Scales.
So all of us in this room have a common thread. We've all had a moment, a gut check, a reckoning, where we ask ourselves, why? Why are you here? And by here, I don't mean MIC. I mean, why are you here, alive? For what purpose? To what end? This is what I want to talk about today. I've heard it called self-actualization, walking in your purpose, knowing your why. And it's a common trait that I see in many people that I admire, a lot of which I see in this room tonight. But it's that why that's going to sustain you and get you to where your gifts were made for you to go. For me, this started with a piece of paper given to me by my grandfather, Charlie Farrell. My grandfather was a Korean Vietnam Air Force veteran. He was an aircraft mechanic, and by his account, and from family and friends that knew him, he was a darn good one, okay? He was married with 5 kids, the oldest of which was my mother, Marcia. And he didn't just raise the Farrell 5, as they were called. Can y'all know which one is my mama? Far right. See, he's like, that's your mama. He didn't just raise the Farrell 5, as they were called. He also took care of me, my aunt, and my 2 cousins, and we all lived together in a 2-bedroom country home in Cookeville, Tennessee. I called him Daddy, and he called me Tutti Frutti. And my relationship with my grandfather was like a decades-long episode of Shark Tank. I mean, everything with this man was a negotiation. Daddy, can I stay up late and watch Gunsmoke and Bonanza? Tutti Frutti, did you help your grandmother? Did you pick the blackberries? Did you do the chores? Okay. Daddy, can I have an allowance? Tutti Frutti, let's talk. I will give you $4 for an A and $3 for a B. Well, what do I get for a C? Better not even ask this man. And it went on and on like this for pretty much my entire childhood. Over time, we learned that my grandfather had developed lung cancer. And if anyone in this room has ever had a friend or family member that's been touched by cancer, you know that feeling that I'm talking about, the pain of the helplessness and the waiting. And I didn't even think that my grandfather would even live to see me graduate from college, because by that point, the cancer had spread all over his body. But he did. My grandfather was the first person to salute me when I had my commissioning ceremony at Clemson University. I was a proud 4th-generation military member, and I was the very first officer in my family. This is called, thank you. The silver dollar salute is what this is called. And for me, even if that moment is all that I got from him, where he stood tall, the result of over 20 years of service and 2 wars, and rendered a salute that could put all other salutes to shame, I would have considered myself truly blessed. This is one of my most precious memories, and he passed away less than a year later. Great purpose is sometimes given to the seemingly most unqualified person. 8 years later, I found myself on active duty. I was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. And my grandfather had made this sauce that had been in my family since 1956. And since he passed away, no one had had it because nobody knew how to make it. So I called my mom to lament about it. Your grandfather meant for you to have something before he passed away. He told me to give you something. So when I met with my mom again, she handed it to me. It was an envelope containing a single sheet of paper. And when I opened it up, I gasped at what I was looking at. Yes, this is the only copy of this recipe. The entire time, he kept it in his wallet. So in true Shark Tank style, I asked my mom, what did he tell me I had to do to get this piece of paper? Nothing, she said. He just gave it to you. Now, I am the third grandkid. His children were still alive. I'm not a chef. And in a family of really, really great cooks, y'all, I'm the worst one. So this to me was my moment. This was the gut check. Because I was sitting there saying to myself, why? Why? My grandfather told me something as a kid that didn't make a lot of sense then, but it makes sense now. He said, Tutti Frutti, humility will take you farther than money. So remembering this, my why and why me, I said to myself, how about I change my mindset? And I say, why not? And let's just jump and see where this journey goes. Within 4 months of receiving that piece of paper, we had our very first production day. An Amish family in Chillicothe, Ohio, hand-cranked and hand-poured 700 bottles. Right? I was like, where's the machine? We are the machine. And so we made the 700 bottles and we sold them all in a week. And I was still on active duty when this was happening. The company has scaled up production 3 times. And I thought that my purpose and my why was service to this nation. I'm going to do my 20 years. I'm going to put on my veteran hat, and I'm going to count this win for the Farrell family. But now something has happened. I'm having a shift. And now I'm razor focused and determined to take this single sheet of paper, and I'm going to turn it into a legacy for my entire family. 2017. We won Bob Evans Farms Veteran-Owned Business of the Year. A funny story, when the company was 6 months old, we got all the way to Hollywood. We had made it on Shark Tank, and we got epically rejected. Bob Evans told us that part of our prize was not just funding, but free mentorship from a shark. Damon John, CEO of FUBU. Now, whereas these highs were quite satisfying and palatable, the lows that you will experience, because it is a roller coaster, the why is what's going to sustain you through that. I called this year my year of transparency. Because sometimes walking in your purpose means that you need to talk about that chapter of your life that you do not want to read out loud. Feel me? Okay. 2018, I made a tearful phone call to a woman that I admire so much, Janine Boldrin. Where you at, Janine? I called Janine and I said, I know you guys have just redesigned MilitarySpouse magazine cover, and she was going to put my face on it. And I called her and I was begging her not to do it because my personal life overnight was in shambles. And everything that I thought that I knew for the last 10 years of my life, I just walked away from with the clothes on my back, but my self-respect. Janine, in her infinite wisdom, she said, "This is bigger than you." But I don't think that Janine really understood what she had told me and how powerful it was in that moment. Because, you can send something out, but what the receiver receives is different. What Janine told me was when you believe in something bigger than yourself, rock bottom has a trampoline. And so, I jumped through the pain, through the grief, through anything that looked like it was an obstacle to keep me from doing what I was here to do. And I will tell you something else. Self-actualization cannot happen if you allow yourself to be consumed by other people's expectations. I also stopped saying a phrase that you hear very often. "Oh, you gotta find like-minded people." No, tried that. Doesn't work. I don't want you to think like me. I can't grow like that. I'm gonna start surrounding myself with like-hearted people. Family for me is everything. And I now know that legacy is my why. And you never know where it's going to take you, because all of that happened led me to be in this room with all of you right here today. So I say this because I don't want you to be afraid of the unknown, and I want you to harness your why. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but the joy is in the journey itself. And you never know when you make that leap what is on the other side. I believe in you. Thank you.